we're starting to get to the point that sellers are becoming exhausted and buyers are beginning to slow down a bit. So again, just pay attention to that. That suggests that either the market's going to consolidate here at higher levels, or we're going to get some type of pullback, probably to at least some modicum of support around the 200-day moving average would be my guess. You got to get some type of pullback here, gets the market worked off into a little bit of an oversold condition from overbought, and that'll give you a better entry point. Here's what you need to know before the bell this morning. The rally continues on, and not surprising. The bulls have been in control of this rally really ever since April the 9th. Not much has happened though, right? So we had this big correction back in March and April over concerns about tariffs. Not really much has changed. We're having some meetings right now going on, and Kevin Hassett says, oh, we're getting closer to a deal with China. We still don't really have deals of any consequence being put out there in terms of tariffs, but the markets have completely moved past this. This is what we talked about before about tariffs. Be careful with narratives. Markets move past them very quickly. They get all in a panic over a certain topic. This was all about tariffs this time, and we get a big sell-off in the markets, and the markets needed it. The markets were extremely overbought, deviated from long-term means, etc. We just needed a reason for sellers to come into markets. Tariffs gave them that reason. That's now over, and the markets have now recovered. We're triggering weekly buy signals now on multiple fronts, suggesting that this correction is complete. The bulls are back in control of the market. All-time highs are just a breath away here. So again, we're starting to see improvement in breadth. We're seeing improvement in sentiment. As we talked about yesterday about buying the dips, in the middle of a reversal one way or the other, the herd tends to be right, either buying or selling. We're in the middle of that reversal process from extremely oversold conditions. The herd has control of the markets for right now. However, having said that, there is some expectations here again that we're going to get some type of relaxation in this. We're watching money flows begin to deteriorate here pretty quick. So this positive money flow that we had coming back off of April 7th, April 8th, April 9th, that increase in positive money flows is beginning to decline here. So again, just money flowing into the market is beginning to slow down a bit. That's not surprising. You've had a 20% return from the lows after a near 20% decline. You had 20% gain in 2 months, right? So you've got a lot of stocks right now that are running well ahead of that. Palantir's up 75%. There's a lot of other companies in there that are up 50, 60% from those lows. So we've had very, very big increases in these stocks prices recently. So, people that wanted to buy stock, they were buying all along the way here. And, sellers were happy to sell to them because they were expecting another leg lower in the market. We're starting to get to the point that sellers are becoming exhausted and buyers are beginning to slow down a bit. So again, just pay attention to that. That suggests that either the market's going to consolidate here at higher levels, or we're going to get some type of pullback, probably to at least some modicum of support around the 200-day moving average would be my guess. You got to get some type of pullback here, gets the market worked off into a little bit of an oversold condition from overbought, and that'll give you a better entry point. But watching money flows here is important, because typically when you start to see money flows deteriorate like they're deteriorating now, that tends to be near the peak of at least an interim run of the market. Doesn't mean a big correction's coming, but it certainly suggests that you're likely near a peak of those flows, at least for the time being. So we're kind of seeing some of the same things. This is small cap stocks, IWM. And when we take a look at, for instance, IWM Russell 2000, it's finally starting to get a move back above its moving average. First time it's broken above that in quite some time. Of course, huge laggard relative to large cap stocks. But again, we're starting to see deterioration in that very kind of exuberant rally in small caps as well. So again, seeing the same type of thing really across the markets. This market's gone very far very quickly, which is good. The bullish bias is certainly back to the market. A lot of the concerns that were weighing on the market previously, the market has now bypassed that. We're starting to focus on earnings for the second quarter. That's coming up. But you do have buybacks ending next week. That window starts to close on Monday. And then, of course, as we get closer to actual July, we're going to start kind of getting prepared for earnings season. But again, pay attention to money flows here. A bit of a respite in the markets will not be surprising here. Markets have struggled here for the last couple of days as well. So just, again, manage risk in your portfolio. It'll be fine. But just don't be too aggressive right here, right now. We're starting to see some signs that the market needs to cool off just a bit. All right, that's what you need to know before the bell this morning.